Of course, I get the fall allergies right at the beginning of the presentation. But I am today speaking on behalf of the SBA, Small Business Administration. It is a federal agency and it is your taxpayers' dollars at work, right? SBA works to ignite change and spark action within a small business community. And we help in many ways for relative to funding, government contracting, foreign trade. You also welcome everybody to go on our website, sba.gov, for further information. But we do that either through our agency or one of the 1,400 resource partners that we are either funding or collaborating with. So if you feel like you need local assistance to relative to any of those topics, feel free to go to our website and find out where your local assistance lies.
Natasha,
My name is,
can you
yes,
share your slide deck, please?
I'm sorry.
We're unable to see the slide deck.
Oh, you're not. Okay, well, that's a great start, right? So, all right, here we go. And is everybody seeing it now?
Yes, thank you.
Sure, you're welcome. And so this is all of these, when you get your presentations, your PDF version of this presentation, all these links are live and you'll be able to access them that way. Right? My name is Natasa Borcanin. I am a business opportunity specialist with the Eastern Pennsylvania District Office. And along with my colleague George Tapia, we serve for about 40 counties and also in many aspects of government contracting to small businesses like yourself that are looking to engage and grow through a government sector. My bachelor's is in communications and international development, and my master's is in international development. Previously, I was a program manager for Southeast APEX Accelerators, and if I am not mistaken, I believe I see some of my former clients here in this audience, which is wonderful to see. We will talk a little bit later about what APEX Accelerators is, but in a nutshell, it's a organization funded by DOD that assists small businesses in all matters government contracting. I was also previously part of the City of Philadelphia's team developing a marketplace at the Philadelphia International Airport, and part of my role was to usher all the small businesses into the program and to make sure that City of Philadelphia International Airport Marketplace does represent City of Philadelphia. And prior to that, I have worked on USAID programs. So everything kind of in my previous experience has touched some kind of contracting or in the government contracting. And so all of my previous experience kind of leads me to this and leads this place now. And least of which was having been a small business owner for 15 years. So I can really relate to the challenges that small businesses face and wearing many hats and trying to sustain your business, right? Today, we're going to be discussing federal certifications. This is going to be a big picture overview, but you're always welcome to go to our website once again and go to either our learning tool, which I will refer you to, or just a tab for government contracting where you will get even more detailed information on certifications. One of the things I always want to impress about businesses is that not all certifications are created equal. I understand how it would be intuitive for all the certifications to apply to all levels of government, but they do not. Right. So when you're doing your market research and you're trying to identify your government buyer in a government sector, I would please refer to local, state, or federal opportunities procurement websites to really understand who is accepting the type of certifications that you are eligible for. For the purposes of this presentation, we are only going to be talking about the federal certification. We're going to discuss role of certification in federal acquisition space. Once again, high-level overview of SBA certifications, how to obtain them, and we're also going to touch on how to leverage them. Okay, let me advance the slide. Okay. And we also touched on this already, right? So you have to really make sure that the certification that you are looking to leverage does apply to your government sector, um, and that all the certifications, do not equal you being an established business. So different levels of certification will require different uh, past performer to tenure of being in a business. Some of them will require that you're an established business and you have some track record to show for it. Others may not, right? So just something to keep in mind. The certifications are really designed, and the success of businesses that are certified is directly correlated to being an established business, having all of your housekeeping in order, accounting practices, HR practices, understanding of government contracting. You really understand that product and service that you're looking to sell to the government, because government, when they're when they're reaching out to you as a resource, there is an expectation that you fully understand the industry and the licenses needed in order to operate in that sector. And also having all of the certifications relative to the industry. Government is very risk averse, so something to keep in mind as you are attempting to break into government sector. It is literally one of the evaluating factors before government gives you a contract. I always forget to advance these as I'm speaking because I'm just too busy talking, right? So, what is the role of certifications in federal contracting? Those programs are designed to establish consistent competency and standards for those performing in the acquisition sector. It is kind of like the of first level of engagement, and certification is also not designed to understand your socioeconomic category, but also to establishes that you're an established business and that you can really have resources needed to deliver on a contract, right? Then it also it serves a purpose of setting aside competition, right? Government does prioritize working with small businesses. It also prioritizes working with businesses that have not previously been benefiting in government sector. So it does this market research and then creates set aside opportunity and even sole source contracts. And also some of the certifications, we will talk about it. It does give a mentoring and education to the businesses that are ushered into that space, so they can really learn how to navigate government contracting space. Right? And government does have certain thresholds that they would like to meet when they are, purchasing from a private sector, and they do have related goals associated with those certifications. And at this point, I would just like to pause and see if anyone has any questions. And I see that, and let me know before I move forward.
It looks like Kim Parker has her hand raised, so I'm gonna unmute to see if you have any questions.
I apologize. That was by accident.
Okay,
Okay,
thank you.
no problem. All right. Okay, then I will move forward. Okay. All right. So we already talked about certain set aside, but as of an executive order of 2023, government has, as actual thresholds that they like to meet. And I want to tell you that, since in past years, government not only meets but exceeds all of those thresholds when they are working with the small businesses in all categories except for HUBZone. And we're going to talk about, HUBZone certifications, what they meet, and some of potential challenges, right? They are through SBA. There are different certification programs, right? This is once you register to compete in federal government space, you're going to have a certification as a small business, small disadvantaged business. They have certifications for women-owned small business, veteran, certification 8A business development program associated with socially economically disadvantaged businesses, and a HUBZone program. Okay. And I do want to point out that one significant difference. When you're registering in SAM, which is kind of like a first stop for anyone that wants to compete in a government contracting space, you will be asked a series of questions. And this is government's way of identifying what type of businesses are out there looking to work with the government. And you can self-attest that you are a small business, which is going to be directly associated with the NAICS codes. And that would mean number of employees and revenue streams that you have, that you are woman-owned business, veteran-owned business, service disabled, veteran-owned small business, or small disadvantaged business, right? These are self-certifications. They do not serve a purpose of competing in a set-aside programs. In order to compete in a set-aside or sole source programs, you will have to have these formal certifications, right? Either 8A business development, HUBZone, woman-owned, or veteran-owned certifications, and we're going to discuss difference among them. Right. In order to, there are set-asides, however, for small businesses, and those opportunities automatically are set aside for small businesses that do not reach that do not exceed threshold of $250,000 or more. So when there's an opportunity and it is below that threshold, it is automatically set aside for small businesses to access. So you don't need to be certified, but you need to be registered in SAM. You have to be transparent about number of employees and your revenue. And that is how the system itself is going to determine whether you're a small business or not. It's going to determine your small business size standard. If you're curious if you belong to that size standard, this is a live link. And once again, you can go in and get a little bit more detail and identify your business as a small. There is no steadfast rule whether you're a small business or not. Those are associated with NAICS codes, North American Industry Classification codes, and we talked about them a little in our previous presentation on Tuesday. Right? You just have to be truthful about keep your records up to date on SAM.gov. Okay. Okay, so this is something that we also touched on before, right? But government is very invested in working with small businesses, to the point that if government research, market research reveals that product or service can be delivered by a small business, it must be a set aside for small businesses, right? And the reason for that is to really kind of eliminate the competition. We know the competencies of large businesses and they can be more competitive, but this way it really isolates the competition only for other small businesses. As I said previously, any contract value of $10,000 to $250,000 automatically and exclusively set aside for small businesses. $250,000 or more, if they're set asides for businesses with those designation, if the government through their market research determined that there are at least 2 businesses in those categories with those formal certification that can deliver on that product or service. And they do that through market research, pre-solicitation, requests for information, and so forth. Right. But this is just to kind of give you an idea. Often small businesses feel like they don't have enough leverage, but this information that I'm about to share with you may give you a slightly different picture. Any opportunities that are $750,000 or more, those opportunities must have a subcontracting plan if it's awarded to a non-small business, meaning large businesses that are getting this large opportunity must find other small businesses to partner with on delivering on that contract, right? So they sometimes even have entire departments dedicated to finding small businesses, maybe businesses like yours, to deliver on a contract. Now, if they partner with businesses that have these formal certifications, it will make their subcontracting plan more appealing and it will make them more competitive to the contracting team, right? So just so when you just think about it, they really need you. Sometimes they have even entire departments dedicated to finding small businesses like yours. Now, construction world is slightly different. That threshold is 1.5 million or more, but for all other contracts, 750,000. Okay. All right. So, and we talked about self-certifications and how they are different, right? And during the sign-up process, when you're signing up in SAM, you can self-attest that you're a small disadvantaged business. However, something to keep in mind, generally the definition of a small business is when 51% or more or control of the company is owned by a person that is disadvantaged. And the determination rule is for not just being social, but also economically disadvantaged. And it's usually associated with having a net worth of $850,000 or less, right? And you must meet the small business standard. For all of those certifications we're going to talk about, you must be a small business. Any questions about that?
No questions at the moment.
Okay. All right. Now, before I start talking about these certifications, I must share this information with you, just because I don't want you to be in a situation where right after this session, you jump on a website and you want to start your certification process. Our certification platform is currently closed. And those of you who have attempted to be certified previously might have done it through SBA Certify platform, but now there's going to be a new platform called My SBA Certification, and it's going to be kind of a consolidated platform. Currently, SBA or previously they functioned like silos. So, woman-owned certification team, 8A certification team, veteran, they all function separately. With this new platform, businesses will have an ability to apply for multiple certifications at once. Right. So potentially you could be a woman-owned, veteran, small, disadvantaged business in a HUBZone. Just kind of cover all the bases. Potentially you could, and because about 80% of all the documents required for those certifications are about the same, they decided to unify the platform where you can apply for all of those. It is expected to reopen sometime this month. Fingers crossed. But I just do ask you to be patient. So what I do want to let you know that the platform is changing. What is required to qualify and documents required in order to apply is not changing. So if you do go to our website and you go to different certification types, it will give you a list of qualifications as well as documents. We know that it's a long process and it will require a lot of documents. This is going back to your business being established and having all the documents in place, because you will be required to submit those. You may feel like you're buying a house, but they will want to know about your business structure, incorporation documents, operations agreements, tax tax documents. You will be required to disclose all of those information if you want to certify in the SBA. With the SBA. Another thing I want to point out, applying for all of those certifications is free. It is at no cost to you, right? So once you register in sam.gov, your company's information is a matter of public record, and you might have been approached by different companies, organizations telling you, I can apply on your behalf or I can assist you with this. You, of course, are welcome to hire anybody to do this for you, but if you want to do this yourself, you can do it, and you can do it for free. The chances are, even if you do hire someone, they will have to come to you to collect all of those documents that are required, and you will find yourself doing all the work anyway, right? So, but I will also later on tell you how to sign up with an organization to get a free assistance to apply for these different certification types. Okay. So first certification that we're going to talk about is a woman-owned small business. Once again, you must be a small business. Always, for all of these certification in the federal government contracting space. It must be at least 50% owned and controlled by a woman who is a U.S. citizen. That person must manage day-to-day operation and make all long-term and final decisions. Right? There are two categories of woman-owned certifications. One is a woman-owned small business. Another one is economically disadvantaged woman-owned small business. That's what that ED stands in front of it. In order to be qualified for those, your personal net worth must be $850,000 or less, and and have a $400,000 or less in adjusted gross income average of the past 3 years. This is where the taxpayers' documents come into place because you will have to demonstrate that, right? And your personal assets must be $6.5 million or less. Government has identified that there's certain categories and certain industries that where women have been grossly underrepresented. And this certification only applies to women in those NAICS codes where they have been represented. So I do suggest that you go to our website. There's going to be a link that leads you. And if you find your own NAICS code, right, North American Industry Classification Code, and you find like, okay, this is my industry, you can qualify for that certification. So do please review all the qualification and make sure that you qualify, right? So do not go to this link. This is going to change, so it's slightly outdated information. When it comes to woman-owned certification, SBA does accept certification from our resource partners, right? So you're welcome to go to these organizations, and those organizations can give you a certification that you may possibly leverage in other sectors, right? Either, private sectors that have disadvantaged business enterprise programs, possibly with City of Philadelphia or local opportunities or state opportunities. I do want to let you know that there are chances are that they have membership and you have to pay to apply for certification with them. And when I say that SBA accepts it, you will still have to go to the portal and submit the certification obtained by these resource partners, but they can certainly help you to the process, and you're welcome to do that. Right? This is a link to eligible NAICS codes that we talked about. And this program, if you have any questions, they on Tuesdays and Thursdays as of May 21st, they do have 2 weekly sessions. It's kind of like clinic, right? So for anybody that may have questions or have started a process, have questions, or their applications have been returned and they're asking for additional information, you can click on this link and sign up for those office hours that they have, right? So I always say that is really the best way to reach a woman-owned certification team. Because it just keep in mind, when you apply, there's a really small pool of people that is certifying businesses all over the entire country. So patience is required. Sometimes it takes 3 to 9 months in order to go through a certification process. So keep that in mind also as you're hoping to leverage that certification. But being proactive is key. Reading to documents required, and make sure that you submit everything correctly the first time. We will certainly shorten that period of time for your approval. Any questions so far on the woman-owned certifications?
There's one question.
Uh-huh.
The question is, small businesses don't have to have certification, don't have to be certified if the contract is under 200,000. There is a possibility to contract. How do I determine my business size if I'm being correct?
Okay, so a few slides earlier, I mentioned that on the website, on SBA's website, there is a link that will guide you based on your NAICS codes, and it's going to tell you how many employees, amount of revenue will qualify you as a small business. So the moment you register in SAM, you will be required to also enter that information. You must select primary NAICS code, and you must select number of employees and your revenue. And based on those numbers, it will be determined if you are a small business. So the system itself there is no certification. You just enter that information, and then in that portal on sam.gov or DSBS, which is a dynamic small business portal where all the contracting officers find small businesses, They speak to one another. So when you register in SAM, there's already preset profile for you in DSBS, Dynamic Small Business Search. So there's no particular certification that you need to obtain. When I talked about these different thresholds, so if the government wants to purchase something for $250,000 or less, they are required to make that a set aside to small businesses only, which means that large businesses cannot compete in that space. Does that answer the question? You're also welcome to unmute yourself and respond. This is a small group and I like it, so I'm happy to, happy to answer any specific questions as well.
And then there's one other, Joyce has her hand raised, so I'm gonna unmute her so she can ask.
Okay, sure.
Okay, hi.
Hello, Joyce.
Can you hear me?
Hi.
Hi. So my question is, I started a certification on my own probably about a year. No, it might have been a little longer than a year ago. And I realized that it was
Okay.
quite lengthy. They kept coming back and forth, but then they lost something. And I think with the pandemic kind of ending and then, I don't know, paperwork everywhere. My question is, do you think once the new platform is open, I should just start from the beginning?
Yes. So all of those that have started the process and have not completed it have received the correspondence from WASB team, one woman-owned small business certification team, saying these documents are missing from your application.
I can't hear her. I can't hear. Oh, there you go.
Natasa, can you, it looks like it was a technical difficulty.
Yeah, I will say this, that federal government really doesn't like Zoom. They only let us use Microsoft Teams platform, so that's why it constantly recertifies. Anyway, I guess it's cybersecurity month. So Joyce, continue answering your question. So my apologies, this happened during the last presentation as well. So you received a notice saying within 10 days you must, submit this application and it will be reviewed. If you had not done so, you will have to start a process all over again. So businesses that have not completed that certification process in a previous platform will not be migrated into the new system. So you will have to start from scratch, Joyce. I'm sorry, it was difficult first time around, but I hope that answers your question.
Yes, it does. Thank you.
Sure, you're welcome. Okay, now better on certification. So as of 2 years ago, I believe, if I remember correctly, SBA has taken over the certification process. And so all the veteran-owned small businesses certify now through the SBA platform. In order to be considered small, once again, the size is key. You have no less than 51% business owned, must be controlled by a veteran. There's two types of certification. One is a veteran small certification. Another one is service disabled veteran small business. And once again, it must be controlled by one or multiple individuals, but 51% of the company must be controlled by service disabled veteran owned or veteran owned. Same applies to women. It can be more than one person, right? As long as the company is controlled by person with that socioeconomic designation, right? And those veterans who are permanently totally disabled and are unable to manage the daily business operations, their business may still qualify if the spouse or appointed person or permanent caregiver is assisting in the management, right? So full list of requirements, you are welcome to go to this link of Federal Register or also once again on our website. Right? And something to keep in mind, there are many different ways to leverage your certification, and we're going to cover that. I just want to say this about veteran-owned certification. If you're a service disabled veteran-owned business, Veterans Affairs can't issue sole source contracts to businesses with that designation. They don't have to compete things out. They don't have to open it up to competition. Right. So this is that is the only space where that type of certification can be leveraged in that way. You may still get favorable A review for other opportunities, just something to keep in mind. So if you're competing in a Veterans Affairs space and there's two businesses, one with a service disabled veteran on certification and you, that they can issue it as a sole source. And if their market research reveals that there is at least one business with that designation, they can issue it as a sole source contract, as it is called. Right? So, okay. Okay, so now this is 8A, and you will see, even though it's considered a certification, it is not just a certification. 8A is also a business development program. It is designed for businesses that are socially and economically disadvantaged. And there's going to be some documents required of you to prove both social and economic disadvantage. Business must be small business. It must, again, 51% controlled by a U.S. citizen who is socially and economically, both socially and economically disadvantaged. And if you want detail of that definition, you're welcome to click on here. I will share a basic definition a little bit further in the presentation. And once again, your personal net worth should be $850,000. Adjusted gross income $400,000 or less, averaged over the last 3 years, and total assets $6.5 million or less. You must demonstrate a good character, and I will tell you that this certification, it is best suited for already established businesses, right? This is not just a certification. Once again, this is a business development program. It is given to a person and to a business once in a lifetime for a period of 9 years. So one individual cannot start multiple companies and expect to have certification allotted for them for all of those companies, right? So something to keep in mind. It is a business development program because once you're ushered in that space, it allows for sole source contracts across all federal agencies, as long as business is able to convince that agency they can deliver on that requirement. Any agency can issue a sole source contract to 8As, right? But you must be really strong in networking, and you must have really strong capabilities. Right? There's also 8A business set-asides, and there are many other ways you can leverage that certification, but the greatest value of 8A business development certification, right? The expectation is that learning curve is, within the first 2 years. You are assigned a business development specialist, a business opportunity specialist like myself, to work with you on contracts, learn the landscape and how to navigate, how to talk to contracting professionals. But that is the only socially economically disadvantaged certification type that we have in a federal government contracting space. Disadvantaged business enterprise certifications might be different for local and state governments, but I believe state of Pennsylvania also, if you're certified with SBAs and 8A, they do accept that certification that you can leverage for state of Pennsylvania. I don't think that's the case with the city of Philadelphia or any other local governments, but I could be wrong, right? And while you're in that program, you're being reviewed annually. You must submit your revenue, your business plan every year. So it is really designed for businesses that are already established. So that's what I want to say. In order to show up as an established business, you will also have to show revenue as a business. I'm not sure what the threshold is. I know it used to be like 25,000 at the minimum. You have to show that minimum in revenue in order to qualify. Right? So here is definition of social disadvantage. Social disadvantaged individuals are those who have been subjected to racial, ethnic prejudice, or cultural bias within American society because of their identity as members of groups and with regard to their individual qualities. When you apply for 8A program, as a result of a court case that happened now almost 2 years ago or a year and a half ago, The applicant must provide social disadvantage narrative showing 2 examples how they have been socially disadvantaged, whether it's in an education sector or a business sector. But it has to be on basis of race, ethnicity, gender, or identifiable disability. I'm going to pause here for a second and see if anybody has any questions.
Yes, we have some questions. The first one is, if I am SBE, MVBE certified with the Pennsylvania, New York, and New Jersey, do I have to certify again with SBA?
I'm sorry, it broke up a little bit, so I didn't quite hear the question. Yes.
Yes, if I am SBE, MVBE certified within Pennsylvania, New Jersey, New York, New Jersey, do I have to certify again with SBA?
Yeah. In order to leverage your certifications for set-asides and sole source contracts in the federal government contracting space, you must have federal issued certifications, meaning you must have SBA certifications, right? Those certifications that you have, you could be leveraging in those other states that prompted you to get that certification, right? So that, once again, going back to market research, but in order to leverage in the federal government contracting space, you need to have it issued by an SBA.
Oh, apologies. That was with the Port Authority of New York, New Jersey.
Port Authority of New Jersey. Yes, you would. I don't think there are any specific set-asides outside of Port Authority with that certification in federal government contracting space, but you would not be eligible automatically for 8A set-aside, which is the only type of socially or economically disadvantaged. Does that make sense? Does that answer your question? Okay. And you said there's some other questions?
Yes, I'm going to unmute them so they can ask their question.
Mhm.
Hi, this is Anjali. Thank you so much. This is a great lot of information. I really appreciate you.
Sure.
To you is I'm just kind of starting to learn all this thing. It's our first time
Mhm.
trying to get into the government contracting. I want
Sure.
to see your feedback or advice to someone like our business where my scenario is like we are of an ethnic background of Indian, but my husband is actually, on the chief front, and I'm just part-time entering back into the business. And we've been in business for 19 years in New Jersey area. We live in Pennsylvania, and we have the 2 offices, but we cater nationwide. And with my partner,
Okay.
in business for over like 25 plus years.
Mm.
So what's your,
Mhm.
I'm not 51%.
So what?
So what do you?
You're breaking up a little bit, Anjali, and I'm trying my best to hear all aspects of your question. So,
Okay.
yes, I think I heard most of it. But what is your question?
What kind of certification would you recommend for our company to go for, considering, I'm not 51%, and currently I'm just, stay-at-home mom, but working part-time, and now coming to the business full-time, but my husband is literally in the lead right now, who knows
Okay.
everything about day-to-day operations.
Okay. So I would encourage you to go to the link that I provided in a previous slide and kind of see if you, well, as long as 51% of businesses, potentially you could qualify for 8A program. As long as 51% of overall operation is controlled by disadvantaged businesses, but individuals, right? So it can be more than one, right? So you don't have to be in it full time, but you should be working full time if you're going to be in 8A program. So you may not qualify for that one, but I would go and revisit the qualifications. If you see if your husband qualifies, you're also welcome to go on our SBA website, go onto the contracting tab and read kind of through, but qualifications for the 8A program, and I would determine that for yourself, right? Because it gives you more specific language.
Okay, so I mean,
Right,
from what
but you wouldn't.
pick up from
Mhm.
here is just in terms of either race or ethnicity. I guess we're India, South Asian origin. That's
Yeah.
pretty much it. All the other things, I think we do qualify. So, but only thing, it's not, woman is not, I'm not 51%. I'm an owner too, but I'm
Then you
not.
would not qualify as a woman-owned business. If the overall business is not controlled 51% or, or more by a woman, then you wouldn't qualify for as a woman-owned business.
So then we should go for the 8A. Is that what your recommendation
potentially
is?
for 8, yeah.
Okay, thank you so
Yeah.
much.
You're
Yeah,
welcome. You got it, Anjali.
thank you.
Any other questions that you can see?
Yes. I'm gonna go back to Benjamin just in case he may have a few more things to state for his question.
Oh, hello?
Yes.
Hi. Okay, I'm so sorry. I just wanted to just be clear. So the Port of Authority is like a government entity, right? They're the Port of Authority. It's the PANY, like the Custom Border Patrol. It's the whole port of the East Coast. So they certify. So I'm a certified business, SBE and MWBE, and it's the same documents that you said. Like that I needed to provide. So I became that, but I'm saying I would have to do it again with the SBA because I guess you don't recognize the Port of Authority. Is that what it is?
Yeah, no. So yeah, in order to qualify for these programs, you would have to have your own, you would qualify, right? You just wouldn't act the same way, right? So
Okay.
so for 8A business development program, it's a separate application and you have to apply. And if you want to leverage certification based on your socioeconomic status for sole source contracts or set aside contracts, you must be in an 8A program, right? So you would not be eligible to compete in an 8A space, right? The space designed for socioeconomically disadvantaged businesses with that certification.
Okay. So in that certification, it have to be the disadvantaged, the DBWBA one, right? That's the one.
It has a slightly different definition. You have to be socially and economically disadvantaged. And we talked about those thresholds.
And that's what I'm saying, that what the name of that certification is called
8A.
socially, 8A.
8A.
And so I would just need to apply for that. That's all you're saying, correct?
8A,
Okay.
yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. And then also the other question was that I have gotten a couple of loans from SBA previous, and they're in good standing in regards to being repaid, like more than 70% repaid. Would I still be eligible to
Yeah.
apply for one again? Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. As long as you will have to show your financials and all these other to the 8A certifying team, right? So you will have to disclose all of your financials. But as long as everything is in good standing, there is no reason to be disqualified.
Okay, great. Thank you. I'm done.
Yeah,
Thank you so
you
much.
got it. Yeah, yeah. So they understand that businesses needs different levels of access to capital in order to maintain their business. So as long as it's in good standing, it's okay, right? It's also one ways that they determine that your business is up and running. So we talked about sole source contracts, set aside contracts under business development program. You would be assigned someone like myself. There's other programs that assist businesses that are ushered in 8A, and the whole purpose of that program is for businesses to grow through government contracting, with having this kind of shrunk pool of competition, so to speak, where they can demonstrate their competencies and outgrow the program. So after 9 years, they no longer need the program. They have past performance. They have capacity to deliver on other contracts, so they can continue working, even outside of the 8A program. The program also allows for joint ventures with other businesses, as well as mentor protege programs. More information on that is also on our website. These opportunities for businesses in 8A program to leverage that certifications through relationship with businesses that are already established in the government contracting space, right? So they learn and grow, and the programs benefit both the large business and your business. You can also partner with small business. You don't have to be in a joint venture with large, right? While the platform will change, once again, what's required is not going to change. 8A application is probably one of the more complicated ones. So if you go to this link, it will kind of give you a preview of the entire application and what is required. Once again, I strongly encourage you to kind of look at everything that's required and prepare before you even start uploading the application once the portal opens, of course. But you're welcome to go and click on this link. Now the HUBZone program, right? It's established in 97, and it was designed to fuel growth of small businesses in hub zones, historically underutilized business zones, by providing a certification. And the federal agencies would identify those businesses. It is government's way of fueling, some, economy boost through government contracting programs. And it is for undercapitalized communities, right, where they benefit from job opportunities and the program itself, right? But there are a couple of things that are important to note about the HUBZone programs. So it has quite a few benefits. If you're successful, you can also have a sole source contract if you successfully can establish that you can deliver on this and there's nobody else that can. Contracting team, potentially could issue a sole source contract for HUBZone. It applies to purchases $3,000 and more. You must have a certification. You must recertify every 3 years, right? Like I said, sole source contracts are possible, but you have to know procurement process, right? So how did I jump here? I have no idea. Okay, so apologies about that. I'm going to try to find the page again. Okay, I swear I didn't think I clicked on anything. So, all right. And the beauty of a HUBZone program is you are given 10% price evaluation preference. So if you're competing on a contract where price evaluation factors, is number one evaluation factor, and your competition, it offers 10% less, you're still giving that 10% evaluation preference. You can still compete in that space. You cannot be eliminated from the competition. So it's actually quite significant. Right? 3% of all the contract goes to hub zones, and usually that is one category that government does not meet, right? There are some challenges to being certified as a hub zone. Once again, you must be small business, 51% and controlled by U.S. citizen, have a principal office in a hub zone. And now here's sometimes a difficult aspect to meet this qualification is that at least 35% of your employees must live in a hub zone, and that gets recertified every 2 to 3 years. Right? So, but a full list of regulation, once again, you can click on this link. There's a map. Philadelphia has a lot of hub zones. I think like 90% of Philadelphia is in a hub zone, and you're welcome to click on it, enter your business address, or check your employees. They don't have to be in the same hub zone, but they still have to be in a hub zone. Right? So you're welcome to take a look at that, identify if you're. This is kind of what HUBZone map looks like. SBA determines hub zones every couple of years. Most recently, they've done it in 2023. So those lines get redrawn sometimes, right? So. And once again, portal is down, but it's going to be up soon. Ooh, we have 10 minutes left, so let me go through this quickly and hopefully answer some questions. So now you have obtained your certifications, right? Now what? The whole idea is that you have already done your market research. You know what agencies are buying, what you're looking to sell. Now, what do you do with those certifications? Just because you have certifications and you're registering SAM, it doesn't mean your phone will start ringing off the hook. You have to be really proactive about networking in that space. So when you're talking to these agencies, you can market yourself either to other prime contractors that are winning in this space and look for subcontracting opportunities, or network directly with those agencies. Most of those agencies have small business liaison officers, SBLOs. Find out who they are. Usually on their page, there is something, it says work with us or small business. Find out who these people are, right? And network with them. Actively look on SAM for any opportunities in your category and respond to those RFPs. Also respond to RFIs, requests for information. This is government's way of doing market research. So if you make yourself known, right? Remember rule of two. So if there's at least two businesses that can deliver on that, it will be issued as a set aside. RFIs, sometimes people do not respond just because it's not an actual solicitation, but it is a way of making your business visible, right? So make sure all of your government contracting marketing materials are in place, like your website, your capability statement, your DSBS, Dynamic Small Business Search tool, that it's corresponding to SAM. You can actually supplement it with your capability statement, keywords, NAICS codes, past performance. Just make it look appealing, right? So it is like I always say, marketing to government is dynamic condition. There's rules that are constantly changing. So knowing them, when you see an RFP and your list of those rules that everybody wants to skip, it's very important to know them, because you may spend a whole lot of time responding to the solicitation and realize you don't actually qualify, right? So you have to educate yourself on all of those things. Government, that's one of the reasons why they want to establish that you're an established business and you have success in a commercial sector, is because they know it takes a long time to land a contract. It can be up to 18 to 24 months. And when you land that contract, sometimes you have to sustain that contract and deliver on it for 30, 60, 90 days before you actually get paid. So access to capital, access to human capital as well, very important. Government fiscal year starts October 1st. So also knowing when to network is that space is important. Most contracts are issued in September just because everyone's cramming it. They have to use up their budgets that they allocated for that year. But this first year and the second quarter are golden for government contracting networking, right? This is when the contracting acquisition teams have time to actually speak with you, right? And then just to kind of give you an idea, right? Like why you should, this is what the opportunities look like, in those years. So there's a lot of money allocated for businesses with those certifications. Also, just because we have a few minutes left, my colleague George Tapia holds kind of like an all-day seminar in the morning and the afternoon covering these topics. I do suggest you're going to be loaded with a lot of information, but it's important to know. Learning curve is very steep when it comes to government contracting. And I also hold the quarterly seminars on government marketing strategies, how to identify those federal markets, what are the tools, how to speak with the contracting professionals in order to kind of make your business visible to them. Right. If you have any follow-up questions, here is my email. I do respond to all the emails. Right. So you're welcome to reach out to me. Keep in mind, there's only 2 of us serving 40 counties. So if I don't respond right away, I always respond. So I may not do government contracting 911, but I will certainly try to make myself available. All right. So if you want to give us a feedback, please follow this link. And I really want to thank you for your time.